And welcome to our Living in the Heart of Virginia Keys to Health show. We've got a lot of things to discuss today. We're talking about an issue that a lot of people suffer from, digestive health problems. So we're talking about probiotics today. We're also talking about ways to cleanse the system and also about overall weight loss. That's a popular topic. Plus, we're also talking about a new vitamin on the market. I went into Nature's Outlet to learn more. Take a look.
Hello, Emily. Thanks for coming in today. I'm really excited. We've got an awesome educator today. His name is Bruce Topping with Garden of Life, and he's going to address something that's a real kind of an awkward topic for us. It's been a problem, but what we're discovering is it's literally almost half the people coming in to our stores are having significant digestive problems. It could be anything from coughing and burping to diarrhea. Let's just go ahead and say it, diarrhea. So it's a really difficult topic to talk to people about, but there are really good solutions out there, and Bruce is one of the best at helping us understand what to do.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Bruce, now tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then what you teach folks in general.
So I'm a health geek, and I've spent most of my life pouring through lab manuals and going to biochemistry classes and trying to educate people about health and especially natural health. And my favorite category is digestive, because I just as Charlie just finished saying, this is one of the biggest problems facing our society today, and nobody wants to acknowledge it. We look at the rates of people that are missing work or have just chronic problems, whether it's gas, whether it's bloating, whether it's constipation and diarrhea, or what I call constaria, which is kind of both, where they alternate. A lot of people have reflux. And by the way, reflux usually doesn't look like heartburn. People think it's always heartburn, but it's actually more like when you're having that chronic burping and chronic throat clearing. You know, when people go, when they're clearing their throat all of the time, especially after eating carbohydrates and sugars. And then I look at the connections with the thyroid gland. How many people have trouble losing weight? How many people have high cholesterol? And so many things actually do come back to the bowel. It's incredible what we've learned about our bowel and how modern Americans, for several reasons, are beating up our intestines with high sugar diets, lots of chlorine, lots of antibiotics. You know, a lot of formula-fed babies never got a good start in life with mother's milk. And you know, there's just so many problems. And then the fact is, we're not eating cultured food. We're not eating lacto-fermented foods, things like yogurts and sauerkrauts and kimchis. And the yogurts that are out there nowadays, honestly, aren't very strong. I mean, when I talk about probiotics, which are the good bacteria that we find in yogurt, there is a lot more found in a probiotic capsule, even than a case of yogurt. So a lot of people think they're getting probiotics, but they're not getting near enough compared to what we used to have. So to really get a hold of your health, start with the digestive tract. If you're having gas and bloating and abdominal pain and frequent problems, it's going to be a downward spiral that will end up affecting every organ and every gland in the body. So really, we need to work on digestive health foremost.
And it's kind of crazy. I read about this recently. 70 million of us every day deal with some kind of digestive problem. And, you know, it can become more chronic over time, can't it?
Absolutely. You know, these things, this is the front door. This is where all nutrients enter our body. So if you don't have good probiotics, we'll have lots of bad critters growing in there, lots of yeast and fungi and bad protozoa. There's all kinds of sort of bad guys that can grow in there. And this ends up affecting our skin, our immune system, our brain, our hormones. Wow. It will end up affecting everything, which is why I say no matter what you're dealing with, begin the healing journey in the gut, especially if you're having any symptoms. That should be a really strong signal to you that we need to begin healing that gut.
And welcome back to our Living in the Heart of Virginia Keys to Health show. And I've been talking to you before the break about digestive health and how so many people out there deal with issues. Now tell us a little bit more about that and how to treat it.
Yeah, so obviously there's a million ways to go. There's a million books that talk about changing your diet, drinking more water and less soda, chewing your food well. There's a million little things. But one of my favorite areas where I've seen people sometimes it's almost magical sometimes is probiotic therapy, really doing probiotics to put the good bacteria back into our intestines. I think that people often find it strange, like bacteria, wait a minute, bacteria, those are bad for me, right? But bacteria actually are turning out to not be all bad. It turns out we have about 3 to 5 pounds of bacteria in our intestines.
Ew.
I know, that sounds horrible, but that's actually why we're alive. They help us digest food, they help run our immune system, they do a lot of things for health. And I should say, I work for Garden of Life, and our very first product that we ever made over 10 years ago was a probiotic. This was a way of putting good bacteria into the intestine to start shifting that whole ecosystem more towards the good guys and get rid of some of the bad critters that sometimes can grow in our bowel. I think that would be one of the main areas that I would really emphasize, especially those that have not even heard of a probiotic, or maybe they're just eating yogurt occasionally. A lot of people have heard of probiotics from yogurt, but yogurt honestly has a really weak amount. When you're buying raw probiotics from Garden of Life, this one, for instance, is 100 billion cells in a single capsule. So, it sounds like a lot. People might ask, wait, do I need 100 billion cells going into my intestine? And the answer is yes. We actually have 100 trillion cells normally with a T. So 100 billion isn't as big and scary of a number as you might think, but some of these are designed to really shift the ecosystem whenever it's been compromised, whenever there's been certain medications or some people do lots of cleansing, or they've taken maybe just a horrible diet for a long time. They've been putting a lot of sugars and refined foods, and they want to start repairing the whole ecosystem. And I really recommend either our Ultimate Care, or we make one, it's kind of the DEFCON 5 option. This is our 5-day max care. This is really meant for people who have been on medications that have really stripped the ecosystem, and they're running into that occasional diarrhea and cramping and pain. These are really meant for that. We also make some, I love our it's called Colon Care. This is a blend for people who, I used to run into people that would come into the store and say, well, I'm only going once every week. What do I do?
Right.
And they would usually be told, well, fiber, water, and exercise. That used to be the old kind of standard. And I think that really probiotics tend to work a lot better long term. So this is a special blend for people that want more comfortable, regular, effortless bowel movements. You should be, having 2 a day that are comfortable and not a lot of, pain or cramping or anything like that. Now, we also make one called Vaginal Care. This is obviously for people who have fungal and yeast problems, a lot of urogenital infections. So for women that have, all those symptoms, this is a great option they can use to really help their whole mucous membranes all over their skin. It's the tongue. I see a lot of Americans have kind of almost what we call thrush, which is really like a bacterial film that grows on the tongue, kind of a white coating. That can be related to fungal problems in the body. So we really want vaginal care, or itchy skin and toenail fungus and all kinds of fungal problems can really be helped with vaginal care. And then finally, we make our daily line. If you just don't have any of these special problems and you just want like a daily probiotic that you can take every morning or every night, we recommend the men's or women's daily probiotic formulas. They're called raw probiotics from Garden of Life. We make a whole line of them. They are really the most sophisticated, strongest, best probiotics in the business.
Our ancestors ate enormous amounts of good bacteria in fermented foods, but with our modern diets, in addition to exposure to chlorine in our water and antibiotics in our food supply, that good bacteria is dwindling, and just eating yogurt doesn't cut it. So to help us repair our ecosystem, there are several types of probiotics to choose from. The raw probiotics Ultimate Care option has 100 billion cells. The DEFCON 5 option that Bruce talked about has 400 billion cells, and it's a 5-day max care. This is for folks really dealing with problems after taking medications that have disrupted their ecosystem and are dealing with diarrhea and pain. For general colon care and problems with occasional constipation and diarrhea, a good choice is raw probiotics Colon Care. care. And for the ladies dealing with fungal and yeast infections, there is a vaginal care probiotics option. And for a daily probiotic, there are options for both the ladies and the men as well. And to get advice on the probiotic that's right for you, feel free to visit one of the many area locations for Nature's Outlet. Their knowledgeable staff can help you figure it out. Give them a call at 540-989-5109 or head to naturesoutlet.net.
A little bit about myself. I'm one of the kids that grew up in this business. My family runs a chain of health food stores in Columbia, Missouri, so I was about 8 years old when I started bagging bulgur wheat and sealing up carob powder, and over the years I got really interested in the more academic side. I wanted to go become a naturopathic doctor or a medical doctor, so I took a ton of classes on biology and chemistry and all that boring stuff. But one of the things I'm really passionate about and why I work for Garden of Life is looking at raw materials. I think Garden of Life, we're fanatics about pouring through what our products are made out of. We know that in this industry, there's a lot of junk. There's a lot of products that are all about marketing and hyperbole and, it's all sizzle with no steak. And I'll say with Garden of Life, we've really vetted the products very, very carefully. That's why we're in stores like Nature's Outlet. When you come to a store like this, you're getting the best.
And one topic that everybody always wants to talk about is weight loss. Charlie, tell me a little bit about these products here.
Well, the problem with weight loss is everybody is expecting magic in a pill. But what you really need to do is take a multifaceted approach to the problem. And we've got a really easy, kind of neat way to do that, and Bruce is going to tell us about it. I've used it myself. I lost several pounds. Best part, never hungry. It balances my blood sugar, so I feel better all day long, and I really encourage people to give it a try.
Now, that's a big part of it, is cutting out those cravings, isn't it? Because, like every day at about 2 o'clock, I want a candy bar so bad, Does this help in that process?
That's really exactly why we formulated Raw Fit. The Raw Fit is a meal replacer. So first off, it's a lot of protein. We want to make sure that at 2 o'clock, you have a good amount of protein still in your body so you're not craving simple sugars and sweets. We want to push back hunger and make you feel full. But we also want to do a few other things. There's really 4 big heavy lifters in here that do all the work. So number 1 is green coffee bean extract. This is what, if you've been watching Dr. Oz, he talks about it. The full bottle's in here. And this kind of helps the liver burn fat. So you're kind of setting the liver up. It's almost like simulating a low-carb diet every day. You're burning fat instead of burning sugar. And there's several studies on it, really safe. Next up is an herb called ashwagandha. This is an herb that helps cortisol. And a lot of people, what is cortisol? It's a stress hormone. And when we have high cortisol, we tend to store more belly fat. So if you've been watching, anything about health, they'll tell you to help lower cortisol to fight belly fat and also feel better. You have less anxiety and stress. Cortisol tends to make us feel real wrung out and wired. It's a stress hormone. So we want to help lower cortisol. We want to help them burn fat, but we also really want to dial in their blood sugar. Really give them a real nice stable blood glucose curve so that they're not craving sweets. That's a huge part of this. So it's a lot going on. We want to make them feel full and push back hunger, give them lots of protein and make it a really digestible, really clean plant protein, but then add green coffee bean, ashwagandha, and cinnamon and chromium. And these are all ingredients that help you burn fat, help you fight cravings, and help stabilize your blood sugar. It's a really great formula for anybody who has kind of blood sugar swings or just has afternoon cravings or anybody just wanting a good meal replacer in the morning to help them feel full and burn fat.
And that's a good point in itself. Do you only take it once a day?
Yeah, most people do it in the morning. I'll tell you, I use this on the road a lot. I have to go long periods of time without eating, and it's really not convenient if I have low blood sugar or feel really super hungry. So I use it in the morning most of the time. I have people to take it at night. If you have that kind of evening cravings happening, maybe try the raw fit at night. It does make you feel very full. It's a pretty low amount of calories, and I always love mixing it with any form of milk. It really kind of reminds me of Golden Graham cereal. I don't really eat that stuff anymore, but when I get to the bottom of the bowl as a kid and you have the Golden Grahams and all the cinnamon and sugar in the milk, you just tip the bowl up and drink it. That's kind of what the original raw fit tastes like. And then we now have a coffee flavor. It's about a third of a cup of coffee worth of caffeine. So not a lot of caffeine, but enough to feel. So kind of an energizer if you want the Marley coffee flavor. But both raw fits do really well for blood sugar stability and weight loss and fighting those darn cravings.
There may be no magic pill, but there is the Raw Fit Meal Replacer, which contains high protein for weight loss. It's a low-cal solution that includes green coffee bean extract, which has been all the rage on Dr. Oz. The coffee bean extract helps the liver to burn fat instead of sugar and support blood sugar levels with the herb ashwagandha. The herb also helps to lower cortisol and manage cravings. Plus, the Raw Fit helps to promote digestion with live probiotics and enzymes. And Raw Fit is made up of raw organic soluble and insoluble fiber from certified organic grains, seeds, legumes, and fruits. Healthy stuff. And thanks so much for joining us for the Living in the Heart of Virginia Keys to Health special. And right now we have a topic that's maybe a little embarrassing, but important to do. We're talking about